what types of steps, I know you spoke a little bit about taking small steps and doing little things. Is there anything that you could suggest to organisations that could help them sort of start to embed the practices or some practices of sustainability?
I'd say the first step would be raising awareness of staff.
Okay.
So how you do that, whether it's through formal professional development and training or by having speakers, or maybe just putting it on the staff agenda regularly and to start talking about it, to get staff to brainstorm from their knowledge and experience. Staff will always come up with ideas, and you'll always have one or two people who are really passionate about it, and you'll always have those who are perhaps a little reluctant, maybe a bit sceptical, perhaps a bit resistant to change, and that's fair enough too, because there is a lot of change happening at the moment in the sector. And so I would say affirm the need of staff for time to adapt to change, and really just start slowly. Do the simple obvious things like photocopying both sides, putting up signs reminding people to switch off, things like that. And then it would be really good to actually look at your electricity bill, for example, look at your water bill and set some targets, and then you can actually start to measure your usage and see that there are benefits. And when people see those benefits and how much money is being saved, it kind of gives them the impetus to keep going and finding some of the more challenging areas to address.
Oh, that's excellent advice. Thank you. So is it possible to describe a culture of sustainability?
Definitely. There are a number of principles which relate to sustainability, and some of them we've already talked about. One of them is participation. Now, participation means engaging your staff, engaging your students, and actually involving them in the strategies. The second one, which is related to participation, is partnerships. We recognise that we can't do this alone. The only way to do it is through partnerships, whether it's within the industry working together or it's with outside organisations, whether it's government agencies or in the industry or in NGOs. Partnerships are really important. Another area is really critical thinking and systems thinking. So if you look at your business as a whole system and also the industry as a system and how it fits in society, and encourage staff and students to think critically and to question. So innovation is related to that, and innovation is definitely one of the underpinning principles of sustainability, because the only way that we can meet the challenges of climate change is through innovation, and we all need to be engaged in that.
Oh, that's so true. Absolutely. So, in your opinion, I know we've talked about starting small and doing little things at a time. And making staff awareness. Is there really any other ways that an organisation can improve their sustainability? So, I know that you're saying that, being innovative and looking. So it really is something that just sort of has to evolve probably a little bit itself, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
And organisations that have put in place sustainability say that it takes at least 3 years to come to grips with it, because organisations start with environmental sustainability. In some of those things that I've already mentioned. But then they realise that it's actually linked to the economic sustainability of their business. And so the two link together, because there are marketing benefits as well in being green and being sustainable, and actually linking it in with your strategic plan and your business planning processes and your marketing. But also recognising that it links with the social side and the benefits to the students in terms of social inclusion and access and equity that I mentioned before. But also linking it with corporate, social and environmental responsibility, so that businesses can market themselves as corporately or as socially and environmentally responsible businesses. And that's what clients are looking for more increasingly.
Yeah, that's so true. Now, supposing we're getting all this happening and we're jumping on saying we're going to go down this sustainable road and that type of thing, or which we'll need to, but what sort of barriers, or is there anything that can sort of go wrong, or issues that might sort of impede or slow down having a culture of sustainability embedded?
Yes. Well, a culture of sustainability is about walking the talk, so that your students actually see that you're putting it in practice and
Yeah.
not just talking about it.
Yep.
The challenges, though, is that some providers say, well, it's going to cost too much,
Okay.
or I'm so busy and so overwhelmed with all the change at the moment that this is just an extra thing that I have to do, the government is just saying that I need to do. It's just an extra. So that aspect of cost and time, and thirdly, staff resistance to change, I think they're the three major barriers
Okay.
that businesses encounter. And as I said before, if you start slowly and realise that there are benefits in terms of efficiencies and economic benefits, then that encourages you to keep going.
Yep.
And the aspect of staff resistance, that will always happen with change, and it's just a matter of allowing staff the time
That's right.
to adapt and actually see that there are benefits.
And I think it's true too what they say, that, you know, change only happens one conversation at a time.
Exactly.
So, absolutely.
Don't expect the world to change all at once, because it's actually a process.
Yeah.
It's not a one-off thing that you do and tick the box and
Yep.
say, right, I've
Yep.
done that,
Yep.
next. No, it is a process,
Yep.
and you can integrate it within your continuous improvement
Yep.
practices
Yep.
and just keep working at it.
That's fantastic. So if an organisation was interested in further study, or like you spoke before about having, you know, some champions on board that, you know, in relation to sustainability, what would be your advice to them? How could they go about doing that?
There are a few courses coming through now. And it depends on what your staff are doing. If they're administrative and operational staff, then they might do some training in business or management that includes some units in managing sustainability. And there are a number of those around. If they are training staff, on the other hand, they might want to do the unit in the TAE package on managing sustainability. There's one unit there. If they wanted to do a full qualification, the only provider that I'm aware of that offers a qualification in education and training for sustainability is Swinburne, and that's in Victoria, and I think they offer it by distance learning, and it's a very good program. So that's where I would start.
Yep.
But if you didn't want to do formal training, I would recommend that providers perhaps call in speakers
Yep.
from a number of agencies. For example, there's Zero Waste, Innovate SA, there's Business SA, there's also the AIG group. They run seminars, workshops, and also have networks and newsletters. So, for example, I would make sure that you subscribed to Innovate SA newsletter,
Yep.
and they also have a regular monthly networking event where
Yep.
they have speakers and so on.
Okay.
So that way you can start to raise awareness.
Excellent, that's fantastic. So have you got any other information that you think might be relevant to beauty training organisations in South Australia?
What I would suggest is that the sector work together, and rather than reinvent the wheel on their own, is for there to be like a community of practice, or perhaps some informal networking events with providers and with industry, so that you're actually learning together and you get ideas from each other. And really that's the best advice that I can give, because it's very early days and none of us are experts, and we're actually all in it together, learning together. So look, people in this industry know their industry better than anyone. It's a matter of getting together, brainstorming, being creative, and just generating the ideas and trying them out.
Oh, Joy, your information today has been so valuable. That's been so fantastic. Thank you. And I'm sure that we'll be able to have an opportunity for further discussion at another and thank you for your time again.
Yeah.